So our Aldol condensation product, BCL-10-66B, has been sitting in the desiccator for 3 days. It's Tuesday. I'm going to pull that guy out. And I've prepared a vial labeled with the compound name, and I've made some funnels for transfer. So we're going to get a mass of the beaker and a mass of the vial, and then we're going to transfer that compound and also get an IR. Grab my notebook, write these down. That beaker is 8.426 grams. And the vial that I'm going to transfer to looks like 6.068 grams. So the beaker went from 8.512 to 8.426, so we lost some of that water mass. So we're going to take an IR spectrum as well. I've got IR kit number 4 here for the KBR kit. So I can transfer a little bit of solid to the KBR kit. Put that collar on there. And then I want to put the rest of the solid in the vial for NMR and melting point later. So it's a kind of needly solid, so it's going to be a little difficult to get that transfer to go smoothly. Don't need much compound. This is a very low density compound too, so a little bit of compound for the IR. That's probably plenty, a couple milligrams. And we want to try to get the rest of this out of here into the vial. Sit that like that. There's a little solid left, but I got most of it out. I'm just going to try to push it through. And then we'll lose a little bit because it's static. And you can see it's trying to stick to the spatula. Not going to worry about a little loss though, because we have way more than we actually need for the analysis. And we've already done some GC mass spec analysis. So you want to get a IR, proton, carbon, NMR, and melting point for the rest of the characterization. So there's a little bit of solid in there. Maybe I can use that for the melting point. Tap that in. And that's plenty of solid to be set aside for later use. So we'll sit that one there. This beaker can go back. So now I want to grind this up, get it to stick to the die. Alright, that looks like it's probably not going to come out. pretty good. Got some fresh KBR that was taken from the stock, so it should be fairly dry. Fill that up. Drop that in. The desiccant in this desiccator is mostly pink, so that'll need to be replaced soon. So now the goal is to grind that a little finer and use it to remove the solid from the sides of the mortar and pestle. Get it mixed thoroughly. So that it's free flowing and not sticking anymore. That looks like a relatively well-behaved mass that shakes back and forth a little bit. I want to get a micro spatula with a little scoop end on it. Yeah. Hood number 1 is up to its usual tricks. It was doing that all day yesterday. I'm just going to take it off. So we're just going to scoop enough of that in there, just a couple of scoops full, to cover the bottom without covering it too deep. Tap that to get it to distribute. And transfer that into the pellet die, and then we'll just snap that shut. I may need to loosen it a little bit. May have loosened it too much. That was a little less resistance than I usually like to feel. But we'll see. Maybe we'll get a decent pellet. So while I'm waiting for this to fuse, let's go over to the IR and see Omnic is already open. I can collect my background. Just check to make sure it's empty first. And it is. Make sure that the background looks good. And it does. Got water and CO2 in there as normal. So we don't need to save that. So we have a background ready. Just open this guy up. Pull that top one out and see if we got a decent pellet, and it's quite transparent. Maybe you can see that it's quite transparent, maybe not. Can't tell what the camera is actually looking at. So we'll take that over and collect our sample. Put that chamber in there. And this is DCL-10. V-66B dash, I think 1 and 2 were both the GC mass spec, so I think this is 66B-3. Okay, that. So I ran the GC mass spec under 2 different methods. So it looks pretty good. We've got 15% transmittance, nothing is pegging at the bottom. Definitely got some water vapor, but that's normal. So let's save that file. File name to title. And since it's KBR pellet, we've got a baseline that's a little sloping. We're always going to correct our baseline. It's all baseline on that side. That may not be baseline. It may not have gone all the way down to 0. This is a little bit of CO2. I can make it go away. Probably a little bit more CO2 in the chamber initially. Although, when I'm breathing through a mask, I'm probably not putting as much in there. So that looks pretty good. Let's replace that. Looks nice. We've got some pretty distinctive peaks in the fingerprint region, and then we've got some peaks out here as well. I can use my T to move this down. And double click in here and add the comment. This is the Aldol condensation product. And stop hitting keys I don't mean to hit. From K2 and B1. Put that in the lower corner. When I do my fine peaks, I'm going to want to be able to see that peak, so I'm going to change my display limits from 52 to 46. That should give me enough room. And then I will find peaks. There are a lot of peaks in this region. I probably want that one, but I probably don't want all these little ones. I do want these, but I'll label those separately. I don't think I want those, but maybe I do. Well, yeah, let's get those two. But you'll see if I go down too low, I'm getting all kinds of peaks I don't want. Peaks in the 400 to 600 range are generally not of great interest. So that's probably all the peaks I want. Let's replace that. And then I can use the T to pull these peaks out so it's pretty clear where I'm seeing them. Which peak corresponds to which number. Get this one on scale. At 1238 is a shoulder. Probably don't really need it, but we'll leave it there anyway, just because. So, might as well label these three because they're kind of out of the way. So we can label them without getting in the way of anything else. Oops. And then I definitely want these guys. These peaks are real. And you'll probably recognize that they correspond to SP2CH stretches above 3000 and SP3CH stretches below 3000. This 2840 looks like an aldehyde. Obviously it isn't an aldehyde, so there's going to be another reason why that's there. So that looks pretty good. That peak might be a little off scale. Might not print right. Move that up. Same with that 1163 peak. That one's a little shady. There we go. So let's print this. I'm going to save it first. And we'll do a library search. The compound won't be in the library, so we're probably not going to get much useful information out of the search. 3,4-dimethoxybenzaldehyde has a 50% match. Well, there shouldn't be any 3,4-dimethoxybenzaldehyde present, because it should be aldol condensation product, but maybe that's useful information. Let's print it. I'm going to save that as 66B3-search. And we'll also do a functional group interpretation. It thinks it's a para-substituted aromatic hydrocarbon, but it shouldn't think that because there's no peak here in this purple region, so it obviously isn't. And it thinks it's an aliphatic hydrocarbon. Well, everything's an aliphatic hydrocarbon. So this isn't very useful, but we'll print it anyway. Just for completeness. And we'll combine those for upload. So that's the IR spectrum. Let's leave Omnic open and we'll just take that and dispose of it. Punch that out into the sink with our little spatula.